Hello students, teachers, parents, history nerds. Hello everybody, and welcome to Nutshelled History, where we lay out the facts, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Today, we are going to continue our United States history series by looking at Reconstruction's impact. Don't forget that there's a link for a fill-in-the-blank worksheet in the description. I just ask that you like and subscribe. I apologize for any mispronunciations ahead of time. I do my best. The continued cost of military operations in the South worried many people. Beginning in 1871, troops were withdrawn from the South. In 1872, the Freedmen's Bureau was dissolved. The death of a radical Republican leader in 1874 symbolized an important transition. A generation of white reformers, forged by abolitionist fervor, had passed away. Without such leaders, Northern racial prejudice reemerged. In a series of landmark cases, the Supreme Court chipped away at African American freedom in the 1870s. A group of Southern Democrats put together a coalition to return the South to the rule of white men. The main focus of their strategy was compromise, finding common issues that would unite white Southerners with the goal of regaining power in Congress. These compromisers have become known as Redeemers. In the 1876 election, the Democratic candidate received 51% of the popular vote. When the Republicans demanded a recount, they found enough mistakes to swing the election. Rutherford B. Hayes won by one electoral vote in what became known as the Compromise of 1877. In return, the remaining federal troops were withdrawn from the South, and Southern states were guaranteed federal subsidies to build railroads and improve their ports. Reconstruction was over. Although it fell short of its goals, Reconstruction opened new opportunities for African Americans in the North and South. Constitutional amendments provided hope for full inclusion in American society, although it would take generations to use them to gain racial equality. Black Southerners now had the right to vote. New opportunities opened up for them. Perhaps the most important goal was education. Hundreds of schools and dozens of teachers, colleges enabled African Americans to learn to read. However, some white Southerners focused their own frustrations on trying to reverse the gains African Americans had achieved during Reconstruction. Groups such as the Ku Klux Klan used terror and violence to intimidate African Americans. Many African American freedoms were whittled away. Congress passed the Civil Rights Act of 1875 to guarantee black patrons the right to ride trains and use public facilities. However, the Supreme Court ruled that the decision about who could use public accommodations was a local issue to be governed by state or local laws. Southern municipalities took advantage of this ruling to further limit the rights of African Americans. Even during the darkest days of Jim Crow, African Americans refused to accept their status as second-class citizens. They established black newspapers, women's clubs, fraternal organizations, schools and colleges, and political associations with the goal of securing their freedom. Former slave Ida B. Wells published the newspaper Free Speech. She wrote articles condemning the treatment of African Americans and criticizing lynching. Booker T. Washington argued that African Americans needed to accommodate themselves to segregation, build up economic resources, and establish reputations as hardworking and honest citizens. W.E.B. Du Bois criticized Washington and argued that African Americans should demand full and immediate equality. Okay, a little recap. As the South's military costs piled up, the government began pulling troops out, and by 1877 they called it quits on Reconstruction. The radical Republicans lost steam, and Southern Democrats, now known as Redeemers, plotted to bring back white rule. The 1876 election was a nail-biter, with Rutherford B. Hayes sneaking in by a single vote after a "whoops, let's recount" moment. Meanwhile, African Americans were making strides in education and rights, but white Southerners weren't having it, using terror and legal loopholes to roll back progress. Yet even in the face of Jim Crow, African Americans like Ida B. Wells and W.E.B. Du Bois fought back with pens and persistence. There you have it, folks. That is Reconstruction's impact nutshelled. Thanks for stopping by Nutshelled History. Say hi in the comments and go nuts on those like and subscribe buttons for me. See y'all next time on Nutshelled History.